Hello dears, welcome back. We were discussing the anecdote named Maternity. What do you mean by an anecdote? Yes, an anecdote is a short story about a real incident. Yes, my dear children, Maternity is a real story about refugees, especially the boy named Mikhail. I hope all of you have gone through the part that we completed in the last class. And from that area, from that paragraphs, you have got an idea about the boy named Mikhail and the life condition of the refugees. In that anecdote, we were talking about the refugees, the Armenian refugees. Okay. Let's have a recap of the paragraphs that we discussed in the last class. Are you ready? Okay. Maternity is an anecdote written by Lilika Nakos. The Armenian refugees settled down in any way they could, the richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of them sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. The men did whatever work they got and found ways for food so that they were not much troubled with hunger and their children had something to eat. The name of the hero in the story is Mikhail. He was not in a position to go for any work. He had to look after his motherless newborn brother, carrying him always on his shoulder. The refugees were irritated by the unending loud cry of the baby. They had already so many problems of their own, so they wished it would die. These were the things that we learned from the last class. Are you ready to listen to the rest part of the story? Before that, let me remember you something. Don't forget to underline the unfamiliar words in your textbook. And you should find the meaning of that unfamiliar words either from any dictionary or from the glossary that given in your textbook. Okay? So, let's move on to the rest part of the story, the anecdote, Maternity. Here you are.
One day, unable to bear it further, Mikhail went to the other side of the place where the Anatolians were. They also had fled from the Turkish massacres in Asia Minor. Mikhail had been told that there was a nursing mother there who might take pity on his baby. So there he went full of hope. Their camp was like his, the same misery. All the women were crouched on pallets on the ground. Barefooted children played about in pools of dirty water. As he approached, several old women rose to ask what he wanted. But he walked on and stopped only at the opening of a tent. From the interior of the tent came the sound of a wailing infant. Have pity on this poor orphan and give him a little milk. I am a poor Armenian, he said in Greek. At this appeal, a lovely dark woman appeared. She held in her arms an infant blissfully sucking the maternal breast, its eyes half closed. Let's see the kid. Is it a boy or a girl? Mikhail's heart trembled with joy. Several neighbors had come closer to see and they helped him to take from his shoulders the sack where the baby brother was held. With curiosity they leaned over, he drew back the cover. The woman gave vent to various cries of horror. The child had no longer anything human about it. The head had become enormous and the body of an incredible thinness was all shriveled up. As until then it had sucked only its thumb, it was all swollen. It was dreadful to see. Mikhail himself drew back in fright. All of them together chased him away, threatening. His eyes filled with tears. He went off, bearing the little child still wailing in its hunger. There was nothing to be done. The child was condemned to die of hunger. Mikali felt himself immensely alone and lost. A chill ran up his spine at the thought that he was carrying such an unlucky child. He slumped down in the shadow of a shed. It was still very warm. The country spread out before him in arid wastelands, covered with refuse. Noon rang out somewhere. The sound reminded him that he had eaten nothing since the day before. He would have to go sneaking about the streets, round cafe terraces, filching some half-eaten roll left on a plate, or else rake about in the garbage for what a dog would not have eaten. Suddenly, life seemed to him so full of horrors that he covered his face with his hands and began to sob desperately.
I hope all of you have listened to the story very carefully. Do you understand the sad situation of Mikali, who is carrying his newborn baby on his back? Okay, let me ask you a few questions, and that question will help you to comprehend the story thoroughly. Are you ready for the questions? Okay, my first question. What made Mikali go to the camp of the Anatolians? What made Mikali go to the camp of the Anatolians? What is the answer? Yes, you are right. Someone told Mikali that there was a nursing mother in the camp of the Anatolians. So he went there, full of hope that she might breastfeed his little brother. Mikali had been heard that there was a nursing mother in the Anatolians' camp, and Mikali hoped she will breastfeed his brother. That's why Mikali went to the Anatolians' camp. Clear? My second question. How did the camp of the Anatolians look like? How did the camp of the Anatolians look like? Was it same as the Armenians' camp? Like the refugees living under the ruined sheds or something like that? Yes. What is the answer? Yes. Anatolians' camp was like Mikali's. The same misery. Mikali can see the same misery in the camp of Anatolians as his camp, the Armenians' camp. Okay. Third question. Mikali's heart trembled with joy. Why? When Mikali reached at the Anatolians' camp and he stopped in front of the nursing mother's home and he talked with her. He asked pity from the nursing mother. And the nursing mother asked Mikali to show the baby. Then Mikali trembled with joy. Why? What is the reason he became very happy? Yes, you are right. Mikali found the nursing mother and she says that she wanted to see the infant. The nursing mother informed Mikali that she wanted to see the infant. That's why Mikali became trembled with joy, and he might be expect that the nursing mother would help the infant. That's why he became very happy. Okay. When Mikali reached at the nursing mother's home, several other women reached there, come closer to Mikali, and they also wanted to see the infant. Mikali drew back the cover of the infant. Mikali has covered the infant very carefully and then he carried him in his back. And when the several other women from the Anatolian camp came near to Michali, Michali drew back the covering. Then my question is, why did the woman give vent to cries of horror? Why did the woman vent the cries of horror? Why? Yeah. The little baby had no human form. Its body was incredibly thin and shriveled up, and head was enormous. It was a dreadful sight, and the woman gave vent to cries of horror. The sight was a dreadful one. When Michali drew back the covering, it was a dreadful sight to the other woman because the infant had no human thing. It was very shriveled. It was become shriveled, and there was no any human form to the baby. That's why the woman became frightened, and it was a dreadful sight to them. Okay, clear? Actually, that was dreadful to see. Even Michali himself drew back in fright. And all the women in the Anatolian camp chased Michali away from the camp, from their camp. And he felt immensely alone and lost. There is a question for you. Why did he feel immensely alone and lost? Why did Michali feel immensely alone and lost? Why did he feel immensely alone and lost? Yes. Michali felt immensely alone and lost because he could not find anybody to feed his brother. He was sure that the child would die of hunger. The thought that he was carrying such an unlucky child made him feel immensely alone and lost. That's why he became very sad and he felt immensely alone and lost. There was nobody to help Michali and his little brother, the newborn baby. Then he felt immensely alone and lost. He then remembered that he had not eaten anything since the day before. He even thought about filching some half-eaten food from the plate that others eat, and also search in the garbage for some food that dogs even not eat. That was the condition, that was the bad condition of Michali at that moment. And then life seemed to him full of horrors. That's why he sobbed for a long time. He sobbed for a long time because life seemed to him full of horrors. This is what we learned from the today's lesson, today's paragraph. I hope all of you have got an idea about the paragraphs that we completed today. I will be back with the rest part of the story in the next video lesson. Till then, bye.